Hi boys and girls, today I'm going to demonstrate how to transfer the image that you're going to use for your Andy Warhol project onto the scratch foam. Now scratch foam is just a thin piece of white foam that normally looks like this, and I have it taped to the back of my image, and I'm going to trace my image using my pencil. And as I'm doing this, I will actually be scratching through the paper. The paper will be tearing as you do this, and that's okay because we want to make the printing plate, which will be the result of our work today. And I'm going to use lines. I'm not really worrying about teeny tiny details. I want to simplify things like the nose with different lines, and I want to make sure I outline as many details. I'm trying not to move too fast because everything that you do today will make marks on the scratch foam. Now I'm coming around, tracing Leonardo DiCaprio's chin here, and you're going to notice that I'm going to come up to the hairline and I'm actually going to trace the hairline. Now this might change a little bit, and I'm going to try to make a few lines to kind of show the texture of his hair, kind of going in different directions. I want to make sure I trace around the ears. I'm not worrying about the little details inside the ears. But you also want to make sure that any other details, such as their clothing, is traced, because this is going to become your printing plate, and it's going to be just like a stamp, and you can make the same image over and over again. Now, if you recall when we learned about Andy Warhol, he used photographs and pictures from newspapers to create his pictures, and he took images, and as he worked with them he made them his own, but he started off with a photograph just like we're starting off with a photograph of someone we admire today. Now once I'm sure it's all traced, I can kind of feel to make sure, and I'm going to come back here a little bit. I'm going to take the paper off, but I'm going to take it off very carefully, because if I rip the scratch foam, I have to start all over again. Now, if you can look, you'll see that it's very light right now. So for this to print, I'm going to need to scratch into it a second time. Sort of like when we made the snowflakes out of foil, we had to go over them a second time, sometimes even a third time. But you want to be careful when going over it, just like with the foil, that you don't push all the way through. If you make a little bit of a hole somewhere, that's okay. But for the most part, you want to just make the marks that you need carving into the foam without going all the way to the back. So I'm going to just show you the other side of this. As you can see, I didn't go all the way through. You can use a variety of line. You're not actually coloring in with the pencil. It looks, of course you can see the lines, the color of the pencil and the lines that I'm making, but it's not that important for you to actually shade. I had someone start coloring in their lips. You don't want to do that because you want just the outlines and little details here and there. because if you shade in everything, it's going to be difficult to see the lines when you print your project. And we'll be going over the printing part of it next week. So you want to make sure that everything is done really carefully. And if perhaps you have numbers or words in your picture, you're going to need to do them in reverse. So when you're tracing, don't trace the numbers or letters, because if you remember when we did our names on the metal, we had to do the letters and the words backwards. So if you have letters or numbers on your for your project, you're going to need to do them backwards as well. Fortunately, I don't have that problem with Leonardo DiCaprio because I don't have any letters or numbers. I'm going to make sure I go over everything. I'm just kind of feeling, because I want to make sure that I have even indentations around everything. And then, if you'd like, the other thing you can do is you can design a background of some sort. Maybe your background is already something that you had in your picture. Sometimes I just make a border. Sometimes I think in this instance maybe I'll come around and just add some shapes. And this just makes my project look more interesting, and it's making it more my own. So this isn't mandatory, but it's something that you could do, especially if you have a lot of blank space. Some of you have more blank space than others. And once you're done, you will be ready for the printing process that will start next week. All right, let's get to work.